Bearcat Coaches Show featuring head football coach Cody Finley. I'm Tony McGill. This is Tim Delaney. We're here. Our producer is Kenny Triplett. I want to make mention of Kenny and doing a great job this year and does all our football games. But you're watching on the Bearcat Broadcast Network.
And behind the scenes guy gets it all done.
Well, big game coming up. Be our last one. It'll be senior night, so we want to recognize our seniors this Friday night. So we're looking forward to that. But you're playing a Hancock team. I think the record's 3-6, Coach, and but you know they lost their first 4 games, but they lost 3 of their first 4 games with 7A opponents.
Right.
And their 4th was the 4A state champion.
Yeah, they've already locked up the 3rd seed in our region. So the team that we lost to the other night, they beat handily. So,
Pearl River Central jumped all over.
Yeah.
I've got that score somewhere in my notes, but yeah, I noticed that too. And they now they lost last week to Pascagoula for 35-0, so they're going to come in here expecting something. Got a great quarterback.
Right.
Penan's his name. Thrown 17 touchdown passes, ran for 15. So we can't get a break from quarterback, can we?
He's pretty much their, he's their go-to guy. He runs the show. The offense runs through him, and a lot of their best plays is him running around and kind of ad-libbing as he goes on,
Making something happen.
Yeah, he. I don't know. He's similar to the guy that we faced last week. They don't throw it as much vertical as
Down the field.
as PRC does. Yeah, PRC.
Tigers feast.
Yeah, and when we saw them on video, they just, their best passing game is everybody go deep.
Yeah.
And throw it, and that's kind of what they did against us. And this guy's more of a, I don't know, he'll dink it a little bit, but he likes to run the ball, and he's a big kid too. Yeah. So he's a real good football player.
Yeah, they run a controlled passing game, not deep threats. And Hancock's always been known for just not great speed, but big tough kids.
Right.
And so they can dump and then get you backing on your heels and then let that big guy run the football.
Yep. Well, they're going to be spread out. 3 by 1, 2 by everybody we've played this year.
Just to make you spread your defense.
Other than Picayune has been like that this year. So.
PRC has Picayune this week, so I'm anxious to see the outcome. I know how good Picayune is, but I'm just after playing PRC and seeing their pass attack, I'm just curious to see what's going to happen.
Here would be the good question to ask about that game. I think that they are in. Last week put them in.
Yeah.
Do they go in because they're going to play a playoff game? Do they even worry about Picayune? If they put the same guys out there that they played against us last week, I think they would play Picayune pretty well, because early in the year they had not had all their skill guys, and we saw all their skill guys on the offense.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that
they had not had all their skill guys on the defensive side.
They played both sides.
In fact, when they played Hancock, they did not. So. I think he probably learned something with that. You got to put your best players on the field at some point in time, and they played a heck of a game. We couldn't match up with them.
I would argue that may be the best combination quarterback and wideouts that we've seen all year. Simply because that guy's smooth. He reminds me a lot of the one from George County that signed with Auburn. He's just very smooth in the way he operates.
Well, I don't know if he's Deuce Knight.
No, he carries himself like a quarterback.
He's a sophomore.
But he does, and he is a very good deep ball thrower.
Right.
Where we were
Great touch.
When we saw him play, and of course I saw him play a lot of games.
Yeah.
He's a great deep ball thrower, and that not everybody can do that.
He's got a quick release, gets rid of it. And he's really smooth the way he does it. That looks like quarterback camps to me.
It does.
He wasn't learning that in the backyard.
But I will tell you, you can have a quarterback that does what he does, but number 5 and number 1 and number 0. Because
sure.
It's hard to.
So I said that wide receiver quarterback combination was probably
hard
as
to
good
throw
as
those
we've seen.
guys.
Are they fast?
Are they fast?
And they're big.
Go ask our defensive backs.
I don't think I've seen that kind of speed, Coach. Oh my God!
Not out of 3.
No,
Usually
three
got
of them.
one.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a
Right,
dude,
right,
but
right.
do they
And
have?
one
they
was
got
the
three of 'em.
quarterback's brother,
Right.
the senior.
Well, Coach Fortenberry said that they have a really good track program, and those guys, and of course, Coach Schaff was at PRC when those kids were freshmen,
Wow.
so he knew a little bit
Knew a
about them.
little
And he
bit
told
about
us all week that they could flat run, and of course, when you watch them play,
Film doesn't tell the
it
truth.
doesn't tell the truth, and when you see them in real life, they can sure enough go.
Yeah, I'd like to see them not play us and play like that because it's fun to watch if you
Right.
see a good combination like
And-
that.
and
It's
we-
fun.
you
Reminded me of that Greene County team we had. You remember we had them down for Greene County, we had them down for a preseason game. When
Yeah.
Coach Massey was here. And
Yeah, it was a nightmare.
yeah, they threw the lights out. So,
Speed kills.
Yeah,
kind of that attack,
It is.
yeah.
It very
Similar.
much, very much was, and we thought that we could score. Believe it or not, we knew defensively that we were going to have a little problem holding up. We thought we could hold up on intermediate routes, but we knew we were going to struggle with them throwing it deep.
Yeah.
And we've been a man team all year, and they exploited us running their tunnel screens and stuff like that.
Sure.
Um,
Of course,
but
losing your two best offensive weapons didn't help.
Well, yeah, and we think, like I said, I thought we could score against those guys, and we did until
Right.
Junior got hurt,
Yeah.
and
it's a
we
different
just
ball game when
yeah
he goes.
we don't have a lot of answers for that.
Well, we come in again, like I said, against Hancock. They're 3-6, 2-2 in the division, made the playoffs. It's senior night, so it's a special night. Recognize
Sure.
that'll be the band, the cheerleaders, the players. Everyone will get recognized. And
Well, I want to
attaboys
say
on the moms and
I want
dads.
to say this. I know it has not gone the way that I wanted it to, and the way that our seniors wanted it to. But I will tell you this about those guys: they have showed up every week
Yep.
and practiced, and really you can't tell if we're 9-1 or 1-9. You know what I'm saying?
We get that
yeah.
impression too.
They like being around each other. They
Yeah.
like being around the coaches. And I've coached good teams that were not like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
sure, I
that,
do.
that had won a lot of games, and you're just ready to get the season over with. And I really, really like these kids. That's one of the reasons I took the job here is this senior group.
That's right.
And I've enjoyed coaching them. They've been a great group to be around, and I hate to see them leave. I'm really close to a lot of those guys. So
Yeah, you're well loved by our seniors,
And that,
and I'm around them a lot too. And it's a positive thing, and that's what builds programs. And some of the things when I was preparing for this today, it was when Ilya Terrace goes in at quarterback after SJ turns an ankle,
right.
and I'm thinking, McDonald will be back, and you've got this kid coming up, and he looked pretty stinking good.
No,
Coach.
he's
He's a good little ball player. I know he's a big
he can-
baseball player.
Right, he can do some things.
He's an athlete, and,
Yes.
and he's going to help. So you see some positives already starting to take place and
Right.
shape up for next year.
Right.
So I'm already looking forward to next year too. But I love these kids, love our coaching staff.
And these seniors don't understand yet, Coach. We all do that drive and determination in them is going to carry them a lot further than anything else that's helped them that they've gotten off the football field.
Right.
Because they're going to put it into their future, and it's going to make them a much more positive person.
Yeah, and that's what people, they don't understand. The kids don't understand at this point.
Right.
A lot of adults, some adults don't, but a lot of adults understand
Right.
that. I've always said that football's given me a lot, and I've made a career out of it. But football's given me more than I've ever given football. So the lessons I learned playing and teammates and relationships that were
Sure.
built on the
Sure,
football
that's right.
field, those will go for years and years and
Oh,
years.
yeah, the fight and determination in you
Right.
carries through everything else you will do.
Right.
Well, I feel the same way as what football has given back. I've done this for a lot of years after playing ball and coaching youth, and then been up in the press box, and then broadcasting and a whole new thing for us. And interviews, I've never done an interview up until 3 years ago. I walked in and get a microphone and talk.
Right.
So it's a different, but I understand what you're saying because I can't get away from it. I'm 70 years old, so football is a special place in my heart. And all you guys, I've told you before, I've always been a big coaching fan. I like my coaches, and But we've, thinking back, I told you once before, and nobody laughed at me, but I still think we got the best program on this coast. And you say we've won one game, I don't care. I really do. The parents, the follow, the leadership, just everything that comes with the game, and it's exciting for me to watch. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow night. A rare Thursday night football game,
right.
usually on Friday, so we'll wrap it all up tomorrow night.
They want to get those brackets in by the weekend so coaches can start working on the
Yeah,
playoffs.
and 4A, I think here, 4 down, whatever the divisions below 4A are playing.
Yeah, they already started. They had their
on
Thursday
playoff
night games last
right.
week.
Right.
Right, so they've got to have the officials for the playoff games on Friday. So, yeah, it's going to be a little unusual playing on Friday, on Thursday, but we'll get through it.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Y'all, this is the Bearcat Broadcast Network. We'll be right back. I think Coach Finley and Coach Delaney's going to get on the board here behind me, and we'll wrap up this show, and we'll see everyone tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. That's Thursday night at 7 o'clock.
Call the Glass Doctor, we'll fix your pain.
Glass Doctor is a proud supporter of Long Beach schools. Call Glass Doctor for all your home, auto, and business glass needs.
Call the Glass Doctor, we'll fix your pains. Oh yeah!
Welcome back, folks. We're here for a little fundamental football, me and Coach Finley, and we're going to talk about, well, let me jump back old school because you will appreciate this. My original mentor, Darryl Moody, played at NC State and coached at NC State under Lou Holtz. I'm a Lou Holtz guy.
Right.
Lou Holtz carried half a dozen plays with him.
Right.
He didn't do anything fancy. He said, this is what we do, and half people out here won't even know who that is. Right. I mean, this is what we do. Good luck stopping it. The young guys, the new guys, they try to gain advantage by moving people around, speeding the game up, all kinds of things. So what you see on TV now is not Lou Holtz football.
Right.
So we're going to talk a little bit about this. How do you gain an advantage? We talked before about zone blocking. When you zone block a run, you gain your advantage by having a great running back that can find a crease. When you gap block a run, you gain advantage by angles.
Right.
But there's other ways to gain an advantage over the defense and outflank them, as I call it. What guys are doing now, and one of the first things they do is shift. You call this guy, you call this guy a tight end, we call him a wide, whatever you do. But once that defense lines up, as long as these guys don't have their hands on the ground, they can move.
Right.
And you got time, you got the clock on you. So you got this guy who's a rush in that's standing playing a tight end. If you pick him up and move him over here and then back him off the line, you've already put these guys in a bind because they don't have time to flip them. So he's going to have to walk down. You got to kick the defense down. I guess I should have said this ahead of time. Defensive guys, you want aggressive guys that go after the football. I'll take a low ACT if it matches up with a low 40 time.
Right, sure.
The more these guys have to think and the more they have to change their assignments, the better advantage you got. So a simple shift like that, and of course it looks like I got two tight ends up, but it don't. We're moving him over here. A simple shift like that forces these guys to readjust their assignments.
Right, and they have to recalibrate their mind a little bit because if you look at most offensive teams, they run, 2 or 3 plays out of one set. So that the offensive coordinators now will give you a set. The defensive guys are looking at, hey, they're going to run this play out of it.
Right.
And they're all good, and then all of a sudden they shift. Well, now you're in a completely different formation. They have to rethink quickly at a fast pace, and that blows a lot of keys.
Exactly. What do I do now? Well, you can even shift these offensive linemen. You can bring an extra blocking tackle over here as long as his hand isn't on the ground. You can get an extra guy and go overload. You can shift these guys in and out. You line him up here and then move him across. You can shift pretty much anybody you want. You can back the quarterback up. You can move the running backs over. Anything you do that forces, we always used to say this,
Right.
if I can move one and you have to move 2 or 3, then I've gained an advantage. Because every time they got to move, they got to think.
Yeah, there's a team in Tennessee that all 3 of these guys in the middle, the center, and both guards can snap. So what they'll do is they'll just slide down 2 men.
Oh, there you go.
Which makes it extremely
Sure.
difficult
Sure.
if you've got
And,
guys
you
that
know,
can snap.
That is, the other thing, and other teams call itself, we call it a scramble. That is, you bring these guys, you got your tight end back here, and I hate to erase all this, but you got this guy back here in the backfield, you got your other guys back here in the backfield, you got him back here in the backfield, setting up wherever, and then the quarterback makes a call, then they sprint to their positions. So you got him running here, you got him running here, you got him running here. Again, these guys are thinking, what's the strength? Where do I go? How do I do that? Have y'all use that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we just call it scatter. And I got it from a friend of mine. This is kind of funny because I called him and I went, how do you teach your kids to line up in all these different spots and then get back to the original formation, right?
Right.
Because, it takes a lot of time.
Sure it does.
And he said, Coach, I told them, go line up wherever they want to.
That's what we used to do. Just line up
And they
wherever
just
you
go
want.
line up wherever they
Just
want
know
to.
where you gotta go.
Have fun with it, and when they call scatter, they get back to their original
Well, that's it.
formation.
We would get in the huddle and call
Right.
scramble, then call the
Yeah.
formation and tell the guys they can line up wherever they want to go. I'm getting better at the spin thing, Kenny. And of course, one of the most common thing used is motion, because anybody off the line can be used in motion. Of course, you use in motion, one, to determine man or zone coverage if you're going to throw the football, but also to make guys adjust. Because if I bring an extra guy over here, an extra blocker, I can bring a guy here, and you can bring him across the field. You can bring him there and back, forcing guys to say, okay, we're shifting this way. Oh, now we got to go back. Anytime they got to think, you can back him up off the line and bring him in motion, back him up, bring him there and back. You can move him in motion. I know y'all use motion,
Right.
And it's probably the most common thing.
Right.
The other thing we used to do, we called it check with me, is just, and it's up to the quarterback. We call 2 plays in the huddle. And a lot of people would do that. Because if it's a running play and it's a gap play and we're running right here and that gap's full, well, he's going to go back to the other play. After they identify, and we talk about quarterback reads, they identify the defense. If the first play doesn't look good, he's going to, call the second play. And we call it the huddle. We just call this or this check with me. Quarterback would adjust according to how the defense lined up, which gives you an advantage there. And I know you all call more than one play.
Right.
Because you don't like guys, especially high school guys, having to check out
Right.
and call a separate play from the line. You like to have it in those kids' head from the beginning.
And it's really all about numbers. When
Yes.
I started coaching, my first year as a defensive coordinator, my head coach asked me if I could count. And I said, I think so. And he drew a line
Count to 6.
and divided the formation in half. And if they've got 6 on this side, defensively, you better have 6. So it's just mixing and matching, and motion causes you to mix and match on the run.
That's right. And anytime you got, especially if you got the second level guys having to bump, and these guys could end up out of position also, but these guys are having to bump, and you see them on TV all the time, folks, and as they're bumping, they're hollering at the other guy, telling
Right.
this, and
Yeah.
if they look confused, you got an advantage.
Right.
You got a clear advantage over that. One of the more common things people have done also to confuse the defense is the speed of the offensive. You run up to the line, call a play, get it gone. You don't huddle.
Right.
Not that you don't huddle and you get it from the sideline, but you run up with plays already in mind. You got a handful of that, and you just pick the pace up, which forces the defense to, where do I line up? How do I get down? And I got to do it in a hurry because
Yeah.
the ball's coming.
And the biggest thing, especially in high school, and I have not seen anybody go super, super fast since I moved to Mississippi, but some of the schools in Tennessee, they will snap it as fast as the official will spot it. And when that's the case, the biggest problem defensively is getting a defensive call in.
Right.
So you end up causing a defense to be in a base formation, and
It's
they
have to stay in
they
it.
stay in it the whole time.
That's right. That's right. Well, you remember Auburn, I think Malzahn was there.
Right.
He had to go fast and
Right.
go faster.
Well, and see in college now they've slowed it down.
Yeah.
If you substitute or anything,
That's right.
the official,
He's going to hold it.
everybody's slowed
Stop you
down.
from
But
doing
back, 10 years ago, it wasn't like that. You could go as fast as you wanted.
That's
to go.
right. And so, anything you can do that forces these guys to either move, change their assignments,
Right.
change their coverage, and changing coverages is also tough, gives the offense at least some advantage they can have. And it actually is pretty smart of these younger coaches to start using more of that. I know this, you out there on the field coaching them up, I haven't been there in a while. It's hard to teach these guys, though.
It is.
You just got to put the time into it.
Right.
But the thing you do know is this: the more time I put into it, that defense coordinator's got to put his time into it also, which costs them time for fundamental football.
Yeah.
All right, folks, I hope you got a little bit of something out of this, thinking football. When you see all that stuff on TV, you know this. They're not trying to impress you with all the stuff they know about football. They're just trying to gain some advantage on the defense.
Yeah, they're not trying to make it look pretty, which it does at times.
Yeah, it does. It does.
But they're just trying to gain a numerical advantage
That's
to one
true.
side or the other.
That's true. Well, I hate to tell them old stories, but when we ran option, we called it both same option, both sides. Quarterback walked up, he counted.
Sure.
I count the 5 here. I count the 6 here. I'm going to the 5 next.
Sure.
All right, folks. I appreciate you watching. Hope you got something out of it, and good luck tomorrow night, Chris.
Thank you.
Welcome back to everyone. Tony McGill here with Tim Delaney. This is a part of the show that I really like.
Yeah.
This is the Bearcat Broadcast Network Player of the Week. And we're getting into our last week coming up here. So this is for the Pearl River Central game. Our Player of the Week this week is Durante Brown, one of my favorite ball players. When the ball game's over, Coach, and we all stand around waiting for the kids to come out of the locker room, Durante always comes up to me and I get a big handshake, a big hug. I love his attitude. I love the hustle on the field. And we look at that kind of stuff. We look at, we talk about it every week. We're the old ball coaches. We look at the hustle. We look at the running back to the huddle. We look at the attitude and the extra effort, and exemplifies that with everything he does.
Sure.
This is Durante Brown. Come on in here, brother. Bearcat Broadcast Player of the
Hold that
Week.
up for a second. I'll have to keep it up. As we said when we talked about it, what we like about you, you're a big kid. You like knocking folks down. You like contact. But a lot of offensive linemen get what we call lazy. Play's not quite over and they already pull up going back to huddle. What me and Tony like about you is you're always hunting somebody else to get. We like the way you move with your feet.
Don't stop till the whistle blows,
Yeah,
Coach.
well, you stop about that far after the whistle.
Yeah, he gets a little bit in there.
And that's that's the best part is that you keep after it all the time, even in the fourth quarter, regardless of the score. You're trying to do your job, and then you're trying to do a little extra. So congratulations.
Good job.